What's good, everyone? Welcome back to My First Kicks. This is episode 143, and this week we welcome Mikey Dabbs, aka the Camp Out, to the podcast. Now, we talk about how we spoke to each other when I go, because if you follow me, you know I hit up Ren Arts as much as I can. Preferably probably once a month to go because my barber is around the block there, so I ran into Mikey and I was instantly like, "Can you do my podcast?" After just a couple conversations with him, or a long conversation with him. After that, he followed me and immediately. I mean, I've been following the Camp Out for years now, so it was just hilarious, and what a coincidence that we ended up just linking up and making this episode happen. Now, as I said last week when it came to my episode with Sean Williams, thank you for listening to that. But this episode, instead of it being like an audio problem, I was absolutely sick this podcast and this podcast recording. And I'm actually still kind of getting over the cold that I had in that episode. So you're seeing like the last remnants of this cold. I'm currently eating the halls right now, and I am coughing from time to time. Listen, your boy's recovering. I'm trying and still putting out these episodes. No days off here. No days off. But I'm just giving you guys a warning if you're listening to this and you're asking, man, why does he sound so weird? Or like, why does he keep asking the same questions? Because I haven't watched back the episode. I'm about to edit it right now. Actually about to record another episode before this. So just jumping in to the intro to hook you guys up for this week's episode. But I am apologizing in advance because I had serious brain fog. But Mikey still, he's still he still stuck it out with me. I think we became pretty cool with each other post episode. So I'm really appreciative for you for sticking out with me if you listen to the whole episode. And shout out to y'all. Episode 143, man. I announced last week I am doing a live show in New York City in collaboration with Sold Out Comedy. It's going to be comedy in the front, podcast in the back. Me and Chris Cheney, former guest Chris Cheney, are working together to put on a great show. If you are interested in joining and coming to the show and watching this live podcast, I will announce the guests next week. But if you are interested, go to the Sold Out Comedy Instagram page, which is at Sold Out Comedy, or check out for a link for in my story. We're working on a flyer currently, so once that goes out, I'll also be announcing who the guest is next week, like I just said, and it's going to be a fun show. It's going to be live, me live. Wow. Hopefully I do not fuck this up. Anyway, it's going to be a great conversation. I have a lot of good talking points for the episode. It's going to be a different type. It's not going to be straight up My First Kicks. This is going to be a previous guest coming on, and we're just going to be talking about, since we're in New York centric sneaker culture. So very excited to put that on, hoping that everybody wants to come and check it out. So if you're interested, follow Sold Out Comedy, look for the link there, buy the October 24th ticket. If you just want to buy it right now, I think they're only $10. I think there's also a code on the Instagram page. If you're listening to this and want to buy a ticket, hit it up. Trying to pack the place, trying to have a good time. It's going to be a good time for sure. So on to where you can find Mikey. You can find him at all social medias as at the Camp Out, and the O in out is a 0. Definitely check out his website, the Camp _ out. The O is a 0.com, and hit up Ren Arts, buy from Ren Arts, follow Ren Arts at Ren Arts 1981. It's a great conversation. I hope it is. And of course, you know where to find me. I am Who Is Haas on all social medias. Follow the podcast at My First Kicks Pod. Follow the podcast on TikTok. And if you're watching this on YouTube, My First Kicks, hit that subscribe and hit that like button for your boys. Please hit the like button. It will extremely help me out. I'm working on I'm working on creating more content and in between episodes, just trying to be funny as much as I can. And also trying to be educational when it comes to sneakers and culture, sneaker culture. Uh, Only so much I can do. I don't want to be redundant and boring. So I try to be, myself on these socials. So hit your boy up if you're interested. Like I said, comedy show October 24th. And on to this week's episode with Mikey Dabb. Hey, Mikey, welcome to the podcast.
What's going on? How are you?
Yo, big honor having you on. I've been following you for a while, and the fact that we were able to connect at Renards was just like I call that like the sneaker guys were like we got to put these two in the same stratosphere real quick.
What's crazy? I saw your sticker and I was like, "Yo, what's that sticker doing on the locker?" And they're like, "Oh, he stopped by." And then they posted the video. I was like, "Oh, I bet." So I'm glad you came through.
Nah, yeah, I mean, I got love for all the like real shops that are in New York, like straight up. Because like I'll even talk about like there was a content creator from TikTok pulled up to New York and he met up with another content creator and he goes, his video that he made was like, so I pulled up to New York and I hit up all these sneaker shops, and what he went to was basically District 1 and like other resale shops. And I'm like, I made a video being like, if you're gonna come to New York and say that we don't have sneaker shops, then you need to actually visit the real sneaker shops. So I shouted out All the Right, I shouted out Renards, I shouted out Extra Butter, and I did the extra work for people who are probably gonna see that dude's video because he has over 100,000 followers, while I only have like 700, and I think stuff like that just gets so tossed away now because I think too many people think sneaker stores are resale stores when two totally different worlds,
Yep.
And
that's what happens though. Like I think it's become more of a hype thing, and people know that they can get whatever they're looking for at a resale store as opposed to shopping at a regular store. I guess you call it a regular store, like a regular retail location. Because like we sell out, the resale shop doesn't.
Right? Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I still don't. I'll forever be like not officially down with resale stores because I just think it's just because you made it easier to get on somebody's passion or sell somebody their passion or their hobby, that I don't think it needs to be validated. Like I'm sure you've been to Queen Center Mall recently.
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you. I probably haven't been there in like at least 2 or 3 years. Like inside, I drive by all the time, like every day. But like as far as going in, I haven't been there in a minute.
Yeah,
it's been a minute.
They have two resale stores, but there's a store in there called A Sneaker Story, which I didn't know until I went to Soho, bought out the Blades location.
Yeah.
I was like, what? And I learned that Soho is actually really whack now. Like it went from being the spot in the 2000s to being like absolutely trash now. And A Sneaker Story is there. It's just a resale shop. But like I walked into the one on Queen Center and they were like, people don't understand, like our prices are fair. And I'm like, fair? Like dudes are charging like 500 for Lost and Founds, and you're just like, yeah, this is fair. Like it's crazy.
So like working the retail aspect and then seeing the resale aspect. There's like different degrees to it because I mean, if you go to Image has pretty fair prices. I mean, I haven't been there in a while, but like when I used to go there and like stop in, I'd be like, oh, but they're also like out of the way a little bit. So I feel like they have to have some kind of allure for you to want to go there, knowing that they're better. But like if you think about working or going to a retail store, like it's a resale location and they're basically the original reseller because they're a hub that's close to you that you can get those things from their bigger box stores.
Right.
Resale just took that and like put it on steroids, and they were like, oh well, we can sell it to you for 8 times that. All right, let's do that. Which is 2016's fault. I blame 2016 and whatever. Like 11 through 16 is like really what curved everybody into being like, oh, we can make money. And a lot of people have made a lot of money reselling shoes. So like, I'm not going to knock you for hustling because it's New York, but at the same time, I'm not going to support you.
Exactly. But for my listeners, if they aren't familiar with you, I'm sure they're going to be familiar with you, but introduce yourself and plug your stuff too.
All right, so there's a lot of different names we go. So go with the camp out. There's like a sneaker related story as far as like being out and camping out for shoes, yada yada yada. Also Mikey Dabbs. I do content creation, not as much now, just because of the store situation. So GM for Renarts. I mean, I'm sure there's other stuff I'm gonna forget, but we'll just keep it there for now.
Nah, yeah. I mean, you're dope as hell. Like I said, I've been following you as the camp out for a while, and it's wild that like you get to like you turn in something that you love into like an actual job. I always love that. Like
Man,
it just seems so foreign to me.
it was like super random. Like so I also do like voiceovers for Hypebeast. So I had like a podcast on Hypebeast for a while. It was I can't remember the name of the podcast. Whatever. The Hype Report. The Hype Report on podcast. That was super random with Staple. So like I had a really good relationship with the guys from Extra Butter, and I don't know, like I'd ended the breakdown, or it might have been during the breakdown. During the breakdown, and I just wasn't sure like where we were going to go. And Staple was like, "Oh, I'm starting a new podcast." So like I like interviewed. I was like, "I'm going to go for an interview. I'm going to see how this works out." And from there, like things kind of like just progressed into like a much wider gamut of things that you can do. It's just a matter of like finding your niche and sticking to it. Don't compromise.
Yeah, that's shoot. This that gives me hope. Like that gives me hope because I just like I mean, I'm up to 143 episodes is going to be, so the grind is there, but it's also just like when you're in a sea of like everybody else is doing podcasts, it starts to get really hard to how do you navigate that and how do you make yourself different? Everybody has a sneaker podcast, but this one's about stories. We everybody's always like, I got to give my opinion on what's coming out, but what about this the journey that got you to where you're at now? Like that's what.
Where are you in the journey?
Exactly. We're going to talk about your journey as I hit you with the question that I ask everybody each week, and that is, what's your first kicks? What's that first pair of sneakers you absolutely needed to have?
First pair of sneakers that I worked to acquire were Cortezes, which is kind of crazy for a New York story, but I think it was like 13. There was a sneaker store up the block from my house. I grew up in Queens, and the sneaker store was like the mom and pop joint, kind of like where I'm at now, where you went in there, you shopped, you became cool, but they didn't carry Cortezes. And there was a VIM. If you're from New York, you know what VIM is.
Of course.
Hard across the street from Queens Center Mall, like we just spoke about. Downstairs in the basement, I'd like gone by my mom, and I was like, "Yo, I want to get those." She's like, "Yeah, no, it's not happening, Chief." So like I saved a little bit of money, and like my mom was like, "You can't ride your bike to the mall." Like we didn't live close, but we lived close by car, So like I saved a little bit of money, and it was like I think it was like $90, and I bought 2 pairs. It was all white, classic leather when they still made good quality, yellow, and then there was a green pair with the outline on the swoosh. It was a navy outline on the swoosh, and I bought these Tommy Hilfiger t-shirts, and I was like, I'm not wearing them until I get those shoes, like to match the joints. So like I snuck out, rode my bike down there, and like my mom didn't notice for like 2 or 3 weeks that like I was wearing new shoes. She was like, "Wait a minute, when did you get those?" I was like, "Oh, my friend on the way home, we took the bus." She was like, "You're lying." Like I definitely caught a beating for doing what I wasn't supposed to do, but I didn't care. Like, and then after that, I got a job at the sneaker store, so it worked out.
You were still fresh. You were like, "Man, I took that beating, but I'm still fresh."
I was wearing my button up. It was summertime. I was wearing jorts, the button up, the Tommy Hilfiger button up, and my Cortez. I don't care. It's what it is.
You can beat me up, Mom. It's fine. I'm fly.
All the time. This is nothing new.
So I'm gonna read the description of the. Let's go with the. Nah, I'm not gonna read I was gonna read the Forrest Gumps, but.
Oh no.
Nah.
They don't really do the most. The one that you can compare to the most of the women's one that dropped maybe like a year ago. It was a women's Cortez classic leather with a green swoosh. It was like a dark green. They sold out everywhere. I was trying to cop them, but they stopped doing classic leather, like the original like tumbled classic that was still smooth, which was like the Forrest Gump joints.
Yeah.
I mean, they were cheap. Like, you bought 2 for the price of 1.
I mean, look, you got to steal, man, and that VIMs was clutch around here.
It was just stacks of like what was it, lugs, FUBU. You started G units at the time. It was crazy. It was a crazy time to like go down, and it was just stacks of shoes. And if the size wasn't in the pile, you weren't getting it because it was sold out.
Yeah, you brought me back, bro. Like, and that Models used to be Yo, that Modell's was the hit. Like you were hitting in that store.
If you caught it on like a good day, you were hitting, but like otherwise, you might have got robbed or stabbed down there. That was like the shittiest Modell's ever I've ever been. The one in Astoria isn't bad, but like that was that was dark times in there.
Yo, all right. Let me read the description of these Nike Women Cortez Gorge Green. All right. The Nike Woman Cortez Gorge Green enlivens the vintage 70s running shoe with verdant pops of color. The upper is constructed from smooth sail colored leather, accented with contrasting hits of dark green, and on the signature swoosh and Nike branded heel. The additional Nike branding elements decorate the woven tongue tag and sock liner. A vibrant streak of malachite cuts across cuts across the cushy foam midsole, supported by a grippy herringbone traction rubber outsole. I mean, my first of all, I never got into Cortez's, but I definitely need to know from a person who, which I could tell that if you bought Cortez's, then that means you love Cortez's. But that Sakai, like Cortez that came out, like
Yeah.
what did you think about that shoe?
No, not happening. That you're talking about the double layer sock joint?
Yeah, with the fat sole, the double sole too.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan. I mean, so like it's weird. I'll try to put it like this. So like back in the day when what I'm talking about, like you would buy shoes not because like you loved that particular one, like the color match, like you were able to put a fit together.
Yeah,
that was the most important thing. Like Diesel had sneakers. I used to wear the Puma slide joints. They looked like ballet shoes. It was crazy. I wore Janko wide leg jeans. You could hardly even see my sneakers, but like I had mad colors. It was
with the School of Hard Knock T-shirt. You definitely had a School of Hard Knock T-shirt.
I mean, who didn't have a School of Hard Knock T-shirt? But like, it was definitely different than things happen now. Like watching kids like buy shoes, it's more or less either they're buying it for trade bait or to wear it once or twice and then flip with their boy to do something else. Like they don't really care about matching too much. And there's certain groups that do, but it's way different now.
Yeah, the idea of being like, I mean, I talk about it constantly of just being like a sneakerhead now, and I even in my last episode, one of my previous episodes, where I just like I'm cool with gatekeeping. I think we need to be gatekeeping more often, to be honest.
I might have to bring it back. I'm not gonna lie to you. I can talk smack, but like it might have to come back.
No, yeah, I mean it's just gotten too out of hand. I mean, I've been on Twitter about it too, just being like, you know, it's cool that we can accept everybody, but at the same time, it's like when people are visitors, you should be treated as a visitor. You don't just be like, you know, yo, I like sneakers now. I'm a sneakerhead, you know.
Here's the keys. There you go. Take my car. You got it.
So it's just it's funny because people think it's weird when a store tells somebody to do a kickflip for a pair of sneakers that you should be doing kickflips in, and then it's weird, like, oh, but it's funny because. So say if somebody does that kickflip and gets that shoe and they sell it on GOAT or StockX, you bought the shoe. You bought the shoe.
You did what you were supposed to do to get the shoe. Like so like there's like different degrees. I feel like if a store makes it fun and incorporates the talent for like an SB or like they're doing a show or like you coming in with your skateboard, I feel like that should set a precedent for like making sure that person is able to purchase.
Yeah.
You don't want to stop people from buying stuff only because there's too many different degrees of like who's reselling, who's feeding their family, who has style, who's a personal buyer, who's a skit. And you're like, but by the time you're done, you're like, nobody gets a shoe. I'm just going to keep it in the back. I'm not selling anything to anybody. So like, I think it's important to be transparent with people. What I mean, it's the camp out like motto is just be transparent about whatever you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're running a release for a sneaker and you're a skater or a basketball player, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you do as long as like you're honest. I think it'll translate well with people who are purchasing.
No, yeah, I'm always a big proponent of like you need to think about it bigger than just sneakers, right? So if you go to a store, you need to support the store so it could stay, keep the doors open. And I always tell people like, if you want to buy SBs from a skate store, don't just buy SBs, buy the merch. Like keep the doors open so that you have a better chance of buying SBs the next time. You can strike out now, but so say if like, I mean, I always, whenever I hit up Lick in Long Island, in Astoria, I'm always like, all right, let me make sure I cop like a shirt or something.
Yeah.
You got to make yourself like a presence in the community for you to be included, because resellers are going to be going to it's basically their job. They could go to every store every week and then cop all the merch and then be able to get the sneakers.
That's who becomes the client now. Like the reseller became the client because people know that they're going to come in and drop $500-$600 throughout the week. So when a big release comes that following weekend, like they're expecting that you're gonna bless them, whether it's 2 pairs or 3 or whatever it is. Like it's a shitty motto, and like a lot of people have adopted that to be like, let me. And it's a double-edged sword because you don't have your Monday through Friday business of people who actually mess with your store. Yeah. So like you're in a rock and a hard place, which I get why some stores do that. Luckily, I don't have to do that. Like I'm not, and plus I don't frown upon it, but I also don't believe in it. So it's hard for me to be like, all right, yeah, come on. I'll be like, oh, just give you a heads up, you're not getting shit else, right? like I have to I like to put that precedent out there to be like, just because you're buying stuff doesn't mean I'm gonna plug you. Like that's not how this works.
No,
Like if you're like an everyday customer and you come in and you're like, hey, listen, man, I'm trying, I need this pair, I can't get it. Like I'm never gonna be like, I can't do anything for you. I'll try my best. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, I see. That's more like, because if you're an everyday person and like an everyday customer, you like, perfect example. I used to be a GameStop kid. Like I was at GameStop every single day. I guess you're the same thing, but and I used to go there every single day after school and just hang out there for like 3-4 hours every day. Go home, whatever. By the time I turned 18, they were offering me a job when I was 16. They were telling me like, yo, don't worry about it. Once you turn 18, I got you. I'll hire you. Don't matter where we're at. Like, I got you. And it's all about putting in that time and making the appearances, becoming part of the team. Yeah.
It's the relationship and like people knowing that like you're here because you want to be here.
Yeah.
I'll bring it back to like my first job at the sneaker store. Like my homegirl worked, like one of my friends, she worked there. And like I tried for like a year and a half to get a job there. And they're like, nah, we got enough people. And finally, like I realized she worked there and then we went to school together and she's like, okay, I'll try and get you a job for the summer. And like it took 2 years to get a job in a sneaker store in my neighborhood. Like, and that's because you wanted to work there. Now kids pop in the store and they're like, yo, you hiring? I'm like, for what? What do you do? I work here. I'm like, are you even into like shoes? You like stuff? Like, what's up? Like,
you gotta hit him. You just gotta hit him with give me the history of Renarts right now, and then there you go.
They're never gonna do that. It's never. I ask things like what's your favorite Jordan and why, or like what this shoe was on the wall. Like nothing hard, just like simple questions, like Stan Smith or a Samba or something, and they'd be like, those are Adidas, right? And I'm like, oh boy, okay, I'm going.
But in my job, it's the funniest. So my team be hiring, and the hiring manager he was telling us like the interview process, and he was telling me, he asked the person, he goes, so I want you to sell me. So say if you have a friend that left their jacket at somebody else's house, and you want them to give the jacket to somebody else to give them back to you, how would you go around doing that?
I mean, why wouldn't you just ask?
Exactly. And so that's what he was trying to get. And he was trying to get like a straightforward answer of just be like, oh, I would just ask the person to ask the person. Yeah. Right. And the person that he was interviewing could not say that. They were just like, oh, I would go to the house and see if the person's there. Like, no, just ask the person that knows the person. What are you doing?
Hey, can you call your friend to get my jacket? All right, thanks. That's crazy.
It's just wild. I don't know how, because like, I mean, if you talk about like just being in lines, like I was recently in the Crenshaw Skate Club pop-up shop line that broke down into a fight and stuff. And
you were there? Nice.
Yeah, I was there. It was amazing. But even like that was the last line I was in, and I realized that people don't really even talk to each other. And I was trying to get in with just like, there was weird stuff happening out front with the security guards, so I knew shit was gonna get fucky around towards the drop. So I was trying to get in on the jokes and stuff and be like, yeah, yo, it's funny. And I was trying to jump in, but there was just one of the resellers that was standing there since before I got there, and he was the one that was just basically having the conversation with the security guards, and they were just talking. And so I was trying to try to just schmooze my way in. I'm usually a good schmoozer, and they were just icing me out. But I was realizing that once the line starts getting bigger, obviously because all his people was pulling up, so once the line starts getting bigger, nobody else, they were only just talking with each other, and I was just like, wow, this is what it's become.
What time that relationship is different.
Yeah.
And so like you're supposed to talk to all the people that aren't with him. So that way, when all the people that start pulling up try to block line, everybody's like, oh, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
As opposed to being like, they want to single you out and make you feel uncomfortable. So that way you don't feel like you can talk to them when things start getting shaky.
Yeah.
Whenever there's a reseller talking to security guards, it's not a good sight. Especially a long time. Like if security guard walks away, like, okay, cool, whatever. They're not like in a relationship or in cahoots, but if there's anything I learned, that's not what you want to see.
What has there been a time like that for you?
Multiple, and like what sucks is like I know a lot of them. So like I always go back to this Flight 23 story. So like, Nike Security was out there for the fragments, right? And they just opened Flight 23. It was like months prior or whatever it was. So like I'd gone out there for the grand opening, and like every day they were like, oh, we're dropping black and gold patents. We're dropping, and I was like, oh shit, I'm pulling. And every time I pull up, it would never happen. I had gotten hurt on my job, so like, I had my cane at the time. It was early, so like I used to walk around with a cane. And I'm like, yo, you guys maybe come out here in the middle of January. It's freezing, and you're not dropping whatever. So Fragments came out a couple months later, and it was a couple of Nike security heads, like Fish and his team, and a couple of other dudes. And I know them. I'm not saying I don't know them, but we're not like best friends, and I'm not a reseller. So like, if you're looking to make money at 11 o'clock at night when there's 300 people lined up outside and all the resellers in the front, like, you know what time it is. And Fragments, I think they weren't even going for like crazy number. They did like 700 or 800, but like they had 77 wristbands. So like I'm sitting by the 7-Eleven, which is like maybe a store down. I don't know if you familiar with that.
34th so Street. I know that whole block.
I was sitting right there, like in the chair, and they're like, "Yo, Mike, don't worry about it. Chill out. We'll give you a wristband as we get through some of this stuff." So like every like 5 minutes, they kept going to 7-Eleven and like counting money, and I was like, "Oh fuck, I already know what time it is." All right, cool. So they come out, and Fish would be like, "Oh, Mike, don't worry, I got you." "Well, don't worry, I got you." I'm like, "You got me" is going to turn into number 77, and you're not going to have enough wristbands. Yeah. So like I was like avidly getting annoyed, and like I used to never leave Soho. I would only stay in Soho because like I ran releases, so like I didn't really have to like stress out too much. I would go to like be a Kith the entire night, or over the weekend, whatever was going on. And I think Paulie was still running releases at that time, but like we were kind of like splitting the load. So being up there, I was like, I'm never doing this shit again. And just watching them count mad money, and like there's so many people standing in line watching it happen, and nobody's saying a word.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's it for me. I'm out. They're like, "Oh, you don't want a wristband?" I'm like, "No, you don't even have any left." "No, well, we'll see what we can do." I'm like, "No, I'm not doing that. I'm not staying out here all night long for you to be like, let me see what happens in the morning. And then none of you guys are here. Everybody got wristbands, and then we don't know what happened." Yeah, I'm good.
I'd be pissed. Like with the Crenshaw Skate Club stuff, I was 5 seconds away from to go in front of the security guard and just be like, "Yo, tell everybody right now you wasted our time. I want you to announce it." Like I was 5 seconds away from doing it.
They never do that. I try to explain to people, even like at the store, I'm like, the more you crowd by the door, the shadier this release looks.
Yeah.
So if you give me a straight line in the front where people could see that we're just doing a straight line, you're gonna ruin it for everybody. And like you haven't been to the store. I don't think you've been to the store for like a release, like we had 8s the other day. We had
the playoff Thunder, 8s.
Yeah, playoff 8s, Thunder 4, and like it'll be a decent amount of people, like 50, 60 people.
Yeah.
In a straight line. Like I just like, listen, you get a wristband, you get a number, you get a time, come back, done. And like a lot of places will be like, "Oh, we only got 22 pairs." They got 200 pairs.
Where's the rest of it going?
if I got 60 pairs, there's 60 people in line. That's just how it works. I'm like, "Oh, come in, get out." And if you get there and you're like, "I need a size 10," I'm like, "Listen, he got the last 10, you got the 9.5, and he's got the 11. So figure it out, man. If you want to stay, stay. But if you don't. I don't make people. You know what I'm saying? Like I think it's especially now, like the way people like come out for shoes, they only come out an hour before, 2 hours before. Nobody's trying to camp out really. And plus, like a lot of people don't understand like how it works. We're like, you got to ask people, "Hey, what size are you? Are you getting that?" You don't have to do that when you come to the store. You know what I'm saying? Like you get a wristband, you get a number. So it doesn't matter where you are in the line. I'm going to call out your number. So you can be number 2. All right, come on to the road. Where you at? And then the size is on there. So if you're looking for a size, or I don't have, you already know off bat. You're not waiting
Yeah.
3 hours to find out. You know.
Yeah. That's I mean that's such a way better or like organized way to release sneakers. I've never been a fan of lineups because they've always boiled down to somebody being like, if I don't get a pair, nobody gets a pair, and then it just starts buckling down after that. And I was one of those dudes that would just pull up at like 4 a.m. and then line up like for like whatever release would happen. I would never do the overnights because for me that was just like I would always either have to like I would never like I was working retail, so it was hard to figure out
Yeah.
how to make that. Like I never understood how people do it, and so it's funny when people are asking for campouts to happen again, and I'm like, I don't think that like I don't think even that's gonna be okay.
I think if stores, all right, so like I'll put my stamp of approval on this. So like I ran Kith for 5 years after like Paulie had left, and like the security guard that runs all of their stores now, like Charlie is my boy. I love Charlie to death. And like we had a really good system. Like I would come out, even if I was camping for a shoe, I would be the first person there. I would run the line still. I'd let people go home and come back. We'd keep numbers. I keep a list. I keep your size. I keep your name. We do a roll call. You come back. You don't. There's no. It's all about transparency. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of stores don't take enough time to understand that it's not just a security guard standing in front of your store. It's someone who has a little bit of passion for what's going on in front of your store and shoes. Like you got to care a little bit for people to know, like some people aren't here to make money. Some people are here to buy a shoe, like so they can wear it tomorrow, or for their girl, or for their man, or for their uncle, or for their like it's not all just a transaction. And like I think that finesse has gotten lost in sneakers too. Where like you're saying, like you went out to a line and who were you talking to? You were trying to figure out what the was going on with the security guard and the reseller dude. Meanwhile, there's probably people behind you who are like thinking the same thing. And that's where you got to pull up, and like people don't really talk anymore. Like go for a drink. We used to like be like, all right, we have to come back in 2 hours. We'll go have lunch. We'll have dinner. We'll go get a drink. We'll be out till 2. We'll do a roll call at 3:30. Like that type of stuff where it was fun.
Yeah.
No more.
I mean, shoot, man. That I only did one camp out like that, and then we would like go to McDonald's for at 21 Mercer, which ended up getting shut down. But like we still went to McDonald's and hit it. Like we were like, anybody need anything? I'm going to McDonald's. Like it was still like a chance of having a community around it, or like just people being together instead of it just being like a bunch of randos. And I don't like. I think it's when it's like the heightening of being like, oh, this shoe needs to pay this electric bill, right? That's when it starts getting a little shaky, where people are like, if I don't get the shoe, man, like
So I'll put it to you like this: like there have been situations where I've run campouts where it could turn into that very quickly.
Yeah.
But like if security is, I give you a perfect example: Stone Island and Supreme. I think it was like drop number 2. I went to the Stone Island store, not Supreme.
Mm-hmm.
Now I run releases. I ran Supreme releases for mad long. So when I got over there was only like 8 people, 9 people, and I knew 4 of them. So I was like, all right, security guard was there. I was like, hey, maybe you want to start orchestrating the line so that way people know where they are in the barricades, or at least some kind of organization before it gets crazy. He's like, I'm away from my boss. An hour goes by. Now there's like 40 people. I'm like, dog, you got to do something, because like I know how this is going to turn out. There's going to be a calamity of people, and they're going to use that as a way to try and cut the line. He's like, nah, I'm away from my boss, and like I'm like, now I'm getting annoyed.
Yeah.
So now like I don't know. They open at 11. It's like 10. There's mad people. It's like 150 people out there. The boss shows up, and he's like, whatever. So I was like, I walk over, I introduce myself. I'm not trying to strong arm him, but I'm like, let's try and figure this out now, because there's been a good 30, 40 people that have been here for a couple of hours. Let's get going. He's like, oh, we're going to set the barricades up in a little bit. Like 10 minutes before the doors open, they want to set the barricades up. One big guy stands in the front, and then just stands and goes, okay, go. So I step off the line, right? I was like, fuck it, I'm not getting involved in this.
Mm-hmm.
The guy comes up to me like they're about to open. He said, oh, do you want to hop in there? I was like, no, because I posted a video, and I guess they caught wind of like the video, and like I didn't want to do that. I don't want to be like that guy who's like, oh, fuck these guys and like what's going on. But he's like, hey, they were curious if you could take the video down. And I was like, for what? Like I tried to avoid this. Like we could avoid this. You want to come in the store before everybody else comes in? I was like, nah. I feel like I'm cutting people. That's right. I was here mad early. Like we could have been 8, and I would have been fine with that. Now you want me to go in at 14 to try and calm it down? Like, no, I'm good. I wound up going in because I was like annoyed about the situation. But like, it was situations where like if security gave a little bit of a fuck about what was going on, instead of trying to either build hype or create calamity, we would have had no problem. So.
Yeah, it makes it, because that's why it made me not want to line up anymore because of that, of just the unorganizedness of it. And
Yeah.
even when I would do like an organized camp out, like that was cool, but I'm a size 13. My shoes, like if I'm not in the first like yeah, if I'm like the first like couple people, it's gone. And a lot of that just makes me like I missed out on a lot of stuff because of that, like just being a size 13 and not really like I wasn't really big into reselling my sneakers, and I'm still not now. Like I can't see it as
Well,
like I can't see it like that.
you're supposed to buy a size anyway at 13.
Uh-huh.
Like even if you're like 10th in line, there's no 13th left, and there's a 12. Like you're supposed to buy that 12 or buy that 11 and a half, and then figure out how you can either go in a group, get a swap, or at some point sell it and then buy with a little bit of differential. But like you can't go there and not walk away with a shoe. That's crazy.
Yeah, I know. And then me, because like I got really good at like going up to lines and then seeing which side's what, who's like what size. Yeah, and then I'll be like, all right, he's 11. Maybe he's a 12, 13. And then I'll be like, okay, 1, 2. If I see like another 13 or somebody that looks like they're gonna grab a 13, I'll be like, all right, I'm not just gonna jump on this line. I'm gonna go somewhere else.
You can't even go by that anymore because dudes come in and they'll be like a size 7. Like, hey, do you have a 13? I'm like, for who? Sure. And like I'm not gonna tell them they can't buy the shoe if they're there and nobody else is there. But like, I'm like, what? Why are you buying 13? I think must be doing good on StockX or something. They'd be like, oh, I'm like, yeah, no, I know exactly what you're buying the shoe for. Pull up during a release day, and there's like a ton of people in the line, and I know like because people frequent the store, so like I know who's shopping and who's not really shopping. Not to discriminate, but like if the kid's like, yo, I need a 13, and he's like 4'3" and he wears a 4.5. I'd be like, oh, hold on one second, I get right back to you, and then I'll follow down the line and make sure like nobody else wants a 13 of like a larger stature. I'd be like, all right, here you go.
I'm gonna have to start coming to the releases now.
Yeah, I don't like that at all. That's whack to me.
It's absolutely whack. I always hated it, and now it's like even more common because like you can't even. It's so hard to cop 13s now. I don't and
there's two.
Yeah.
There's two.
It's and everybody's trying to be like, all right, cool. I forgot what I was hearing, but I overheard somebody go, oh yeah, you always go big sizes because basketball players will buy them from you, and I'm like,
13, 14, 15. But even like you, perfect example. Like a lot of people I wear 11 and a half. Like my shoe grew, my foot grew, but like I'm 11 and a half. I'm trying to be a 12 soon. Like I don't know, but like at the end of the day, there's only two of those two, so it's like 11 and a half is only one usually, so it gets even crazier.
Yeah, it's wild. I'm just like, that's why I don't even have like a huge shoe collection. And then, somebody who has like a 10 will have like 400 pairs. I'm just like, I mean, that's cool. I mean, I hope you go out a lot. Like, I mean, I think we're about the same, like collection wise in terms of just like quantity. I don't know. You probably have way more heat than me, but
I'm just honestly like I really like thinned out the herd like a lot. I've only been going for comfort lately. So like I'm big on my Asics, big on my New Balance, and like Vomero has been top of my Nike list for quite some time. But
you're gonna have to sell me on a Vomero because I don't know. I can't get behind them.
How tall are you?
6 feet.
What size is your foot?
13.
How much do you weigh?
Like, I mean, let's go with 300. I don't know.
I'm 210. So like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is, if you're looking for comfort, a shoe you can wear all day, it's not a Jordan 1, I'll tell you that much. So like Vomero, 993, like my go-tos if we're talking about. Cayano 14. I'm gonna buy a pair of gel 2160s this week, I'm sure. Gel NYC. Those are the last three are Asics. I've been wearing the.
Yeah, I was thinking about copping the Bodegas. Bodega ones.
Ortholite is super, but like when you're talking about comfort, like the Vomero is mad comfortable. You can wear it all day. Like you're not like, oh, my feet hurt. Like there's none of that. It's breathability, there's comfortability, and plus like it's a good silhouette. It's not like an ugly shoe. I don't know if you don't like the way it looks. It's different.
I don't like the way it looks. I'll be honest.
Yeah, that's what it is. If I'm gonna do a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I got another one always. So 10 pairs of Vomeros just here. Whatever.
I listen. I'm a dunk head. I'm a SB head. So like that's comfort to me.
You like SB, so like that's the the elastic and the fat tongue like really impede the top of my foot. So like I hate wearing SBs. I got fucking lobster lovely, but like I you see 'em?
Yeah, I see him. I see the box.
Yeah. Like I mean, and like usually when I have dunk like SBs, like I will sell them after a year or two because I'm like I'm not gonna wear them. It's hard for me to be like, oh, can't wait to wear these shits because can't do it. I think they're 13.
I'll take them. Let me come over real quick. Let me.
You're right there. Where you at?
So you were outside, so that's what that everybody considers, you being outside as, you outside. And, I only like I said, I only was able to get like glimpses of New York City's like the height of sneaker culture, like when it was like legit real sneaker cultures. This is right before 2016, and everybody's concerned of how much their gear costs. But what was your rounds like? Because I had my rounds were I would hit up Supreme first, Clientele after, North Recon, then finish at DQM, and then Blades, right, because it's right across the street from the train station, and that was it.
What was the one on Spring Street? Shit, right off the train station. Laces. Shit.
Shoot, I know what you're talking about. I've been in there a bunch of times.
And it would just be shoes all down the whole
all down the wall. Yeah.
Called Spring.
Was it Spring Kicks? Spring Kicks? No, was it laces?
It was Spring something. Spring laces, or I used to buy all my Sauconys from there. Like, literally all my Sauconys from there. So it was there. Supreme. I think way before Kith. Before sneakers. What was before Kith? Oh my god.
Atrium.
Atrium.
Yeah.
There used to be this. So across the street, you know where the Swatches right there on Broadway? Yeah. There used to be like a Native American like antiques place.
Yeah. Right? Oh, you talking about the spot downstairs, or are you talking about where Swatch was?
No, where Swatch was. I know what you're talking about though. They had like a 2-floor joint. Like I'm talking about clothes and shopping. So Blades, obviously. Yellow Rat Bastard. What was it? Michael K. before it was Whack. They had that upstairs with the sneaker sections. That was the best. That was it. I used to stick to Broadway. Broadway was like my lifeline, and that was when Atrium used to be on the other side of Canal. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Wait, how old are you?
I'm 35.
Oh, so you do remember?
Yeah.
I was like, damn, how old are you? It used to be on the other side in that white building on the corner, and that would be as far as I would go on Broadway. I used to do construction, and like I would work all over the city, so I would be like, all right, on my way back, I'd walk past from Canal that way.
Yeah, that loop, and then the '90s kids, and
and East 8th Street. East 8th Street was like the spot when they had David Z over there still.
Yeah,
David Z, Bang Bang, and something else was there. What was the other thing that was there? Fuck. Oh, French Connection UK was still over there. Those are pretty good spots, but
yeah, that. So like, what did you like? What was like the where did you have like OGs that brought you in, or were you like you found your way into this?
Well, so all right, this has no correlation to like now, which is why like I got back into runners in like 2011. But like I was at a sneaker show and Ronnie was there, and like I know him from high school, so I was like, wait a minute, what are you doing here? And like he went up on the panel, I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like I had no idea that he like was doing this journey from David Z's into Kith. And then like I looked into it, and then like a week later I was buying salmon toes, but not salmon toes, flamingos. But so like I said, I did construction, so I would get off the train and like I would either be on Broadway, did a job on 38th and 5th, and I had to take the train down, and I got off and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna go shopping, fuck it. And I would start from 14th Street and then just walk my way all the way down. So like you would find places like that. That's when like you walk into there was a David Z's on 14th Street.
Yeah.
And when they didn't have shit, they would just make a phone call, and then either the kid would come run it up from the other store, or you would walk down to the other store. And in doing that, like you pass mad stores. So like after doing it I was probably like 16. I was still my last year of high school, so 17, and I would just walk around. That was it. So like, I mean, summertime is what I would do. Like I would fucking work construction, then I would just walk around. We'd go out, get drunk on like the weekends, and like all the bars on McDougal, they wouldn't ID you after a certain time. So if you got there for dinner and like you would have dinner with like a girl or your friends or whatever, it would turn into a club and they would never ID you. So like you just be in all these random spots getting like, and so like you wind up. It was a much funner time. I'll put it like that.
That's uncapped New York. Like,
Yeah, like Yellow Rat Bastard was so fire. The whole downstairs, it was just like a t-shirt haven.
Yeah,
you remember Yellow Rat Bastard?
Of course, man. I remember the one story I think I told here a bunch of times. I went down there and I was going to buy Levi's, and the guy go, "Yo, can you tell me where the Levi's is at?" And then he goes, "All right, so this is what you want to do. You want to go downstairs, and you see there's 2 tables that say Levi's. The one on the right is fake. The one on the left is real."
That's mad funny. That's mad funny because Yellow Rat Bastard would be crazy. He'd be like, "Oh, these t-shirts are nice." I'm like, "No, don't buy those. There'd be no tags inside." I'm like, "Wait, why are there no tags inside the shirt?" I'm like, "Yeah, because they just made those." Like,
yeah. Or like they had all the exposed pipe, so they would just like you would just see like shirts get dirty and stuff. You were like, "What the hell?" And then the people just walking around just wiping down stuff. You're like, "The hell's going on?"
What was there? It was Blades, and what else was there? There was something else there. What was across the street? You know what I'm talking about? Big ass where the Dillons is. What the fuck was that?
You talking about that? There was like that small store,
No,
right?
It was huge.
Oh,
the sneaker store. Fuck.
David Z's Blades.
It's gonna come to me at some point during this podcast. Fuck.
Damn, I don't remember.
Starbucks, where Blades. It was like 2 stores up. Underground? No, not Underground. Fuck.
The one that turned into like a sound spot right there. That.
Yeah.
And then across the street from the Best Buy, I think.
No. This is so you know what the Starbucks is where Hat Club, Starbucks, Dillons. Then there's that fence.
Yeah,
like that used to be.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Fuck. I bought Oreo 6s from there. As a matter of fact, I can remember that like clear as day. Whatever.
I don't remember. I know that like we would do that loop and then walk to the OG or the first or no I think it was the second Flight Club, the one that was like tucked in
Christina or Christy or whatever.
Christy, yeah, I think it was the one that was Christy. Because I always thought that was better. Like the people actually spoke to you in there, and I don't know if Chris worked at that one, but
maybe not. But I never liked the one on 13th Street. I just don't like the one. Let me rephrase that. I don't like how those people interact with other people that don't know about shoes.
Yeah,
like if you're gonna be in a place that facilitates sneakers on such a high level, like you should be educating, not being like dicks about it, so people spend more money. Like I don't know. Whatever.
That customer service has come a long way. I will say that because spots were not talking to you at all.
Like Supreme set the standard though. Supreme, like some people will use the Supreme motto where they want the people to be assholes to you, so you feel like inclined to spend more money. And I don't know if Supreme was actually trying to do that, but like they succeeded at it.
Nah, I don't even. I mean, what was I think like it was just like skate culture, right?
Yeah,
you know,
he didn't fuck with you. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. Like, who are you? You poser, get out of here. Like, yeah. I mean, listen, there have been a couple of times in Soho because I was a much bigger dude back then. Well, not much, but I was pretty big back then. And so spots would look at me and go, "Oh, I know you can't buy anything here," and I'll be like, "Damn, bro, like
that's cold, damn."
And then once it was wild because like I started losing weight. But it was the weirdest thing to go into Supreme and the dude asked me, "Do you want to try this on?" And I was like, "What?"
That's when they still had 2Xs.
No, they didn't even have 2Xs. That was an XL.
They brought 2Xs back because they discontinued it. Like back in like 2000, like 1 and on, they had 2Xs, and up until like 2000, I think 9 or 11, they stopped. So like the XL would be huge.
Yeah,
is like that. That was their transition. Is that the XL would be huge, so they stopped doing 2X. And now I think they're back to doing 2Xs again.
Yeah, they're doing 2Xs again. I've been copping. I'm not, I'll still cop Supreme.
Yeah, I mean, it looks good. I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. I'm still curious. Is just like what like you talk about your first shoe, right? But like Where at what moment did you feel like, all right, now I need to understand what sneaker culture is and like how I'm gonna jump into this? Like, where was that moment for you?
I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I think I still don't understand what sneaker culture is.
Uh-huh.
I like I said, I went to that sneaker show and I saw Ronnie, and I went to a release, and it was oh my god, I just said it, flamingos,
Flamingos,
right?
yeah.
And there was a line, and it was a very shitty line, and I was like, what the fuck is going on here? Like I didn't expect there to be that many people for a pair of Asics. So I was like, all right, let me not talk. I'm not talk too much shit. I'll feel it out. I wound up copping a pair like a week later off of. Kid was like, yo, I got a pair if you want it. I got you. I was like, I bet. But I integrated myself into the next release. What was the next release? I think it was the Volcano.
Was it the Volcanoes? It wasn't the Eastern Conference pack, whatever.
The EC, yeah, I missed the ECP.
Oh, okay.
I missed the ECP because it was a shit show. No, ECP was before. ECP was before Flamingos.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to think what came. Whatever was after that. Like it might have been Daytona. Was it Daytona's? It might have been.
Nah, I think it might have been Volcanoes. It could have been Volcanoes.
Whatever the timeline is, I get in the
Yeah.
line and I'm like, all right, I got there mad early. Brought my car. It was cold. I parked. Paulie pulls up. He's like, oh, I saw you from the last one. I was like, yeah, if you want to hop in the car, hop in the car. And like that's just me being nice, not because like I'm trying to like I know where I'm at. I know
Yeah.
I'm first, so I'm not in my mind. I'm like I got nothing to worry about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He gets a car, they smoke, everybody's chilling, we bullshit, and like I talk to people, so I don't care. Like everybody starts lining up, and I'm noticing a trend, and it's a lot of people, doing weird things. And I'm by no means a small guy, and I'm also not a pussy. So like,
Uh-huh.
all right, I'm gonna stand right here with a cane. I started the cane this time, so I'm like, all right, I'll stand right here with the cane. If you want to go by, you're gonna have to say something.
Uh-huh.
Move, I'm gonna move. I don't care. And then I noticed like kids were up there too that were like near, and people were trying to pass them by, and I started getting pissed off. I'm like, oh, so we're just not gonna abide by any rules, and like that's not how I live. So next release, I come out, and they're like, oh, dude with the canes here again. And like as like people started seeing me more, I fuck with the people in the store. You show up more. Like I have a little bit of charisma. Like I talk to people, whatever, we're good.
Yeah.
So like, oh, Mike's here, chilling, blah blah blah. And then I don't know. I think it was like Blanco or one of these kids. They try to like push these kids out of the way. I was like, where you going? They were here. They're like, oh, no. Oh, yeah, all right, cool. So, like, a little bit of backbone goes a long way. Like, you're not going to fight me. What are you going to do? Like, you're not going to do shit. Everybody get in line and chill the fuck out. Like, you got to get 30 pairs. Cool. Got 30 people. They're there. The first 6 are here. Who cares? So, next release, yeah, I learned a little bit about how the release was working, like who was running the line, who was saving spots, who was taking money to do, what. And then I forget what release it was. I don't know. It was a weird release. I went out. And like we're all good now. Everybody's like cool. Everybody knows the deal. If Mike's there, don't fuck around. Like we're chilling. We got the car. I'm here before everybody. I'm first. I don't give a fuck. So I went to something. Oh, it was the Diamond release, as a matter of fact. And like running a little release, and I was like, all right, Paulie, I'll help you out. I'll save you some spots on this thing. There's 400 pairs. I'm not gonna stress out. I left because I was like 8th or 9th. There was like a party all night long. Came back. We did what we do. I leave. Now I'm cool with all the security guards. They start calling me like, Mike, what happened with the list? And whatever happened, like he started moving mad people around to make money, and like it's his show. Realistically, I'm not running the release; it's his show. Like I would go there and he would take over, so I couldn't be like, "What are you doing?" But like, I get it. All right. Turns out, like he did a lot of shitty shit, and I was like, "All right, it is what it is." Like it's water under the bridge. But then after that release, like they were like, "All right, Mike, you're gonna run the release," and I was like, and I think like he kind of like he was ready to like step away anyway at this point. Like, other shit to do. I think we started doing a podcast too after that. Were we doing a podcast yet? We weren't doing a podcast yet. but like it was like that was the transition. Like he was done with it. He was like pretty much over it, I think, at this point, which is why like so like I didn't really care too much. But now that I took over, like things kind of changed. It was like roll calls, and like that was part of like my sneaker culture. And like I wasn't going there to like buy shoes to flip them. I was going there camping out to buy shoes because I liked the way they looked, and like it was Mercer pants. It was what was the other company? Fuck.
Mercer pants, and then
In a Road, Mercer pants. Kith had just started doing like a little bit of clothing. They were putting like shirts out and shit. I was like, what else? So it was Kith and Supreme were like my two like things that I would go to all the time. I was venture over to Extra Butter because it was 2013 and they just opened up too. DQM was around the corner, so like I would like that was back to like my little circle of places I fuck with. So and then like I just started doing releases on the regular because I was always there, and then it just took off from there. And like I'm not gonna say I I created like my own little culture in that of like people being like, oh, we're gonna go to that release, and I wouldn't just do it for Asics. I would do it for like whatever else was dropping, like whether it was whatever runner it was or whatever Jordan it was. They'd be like, oh, you're gonna come out, and I'm like, yeah, cool, I don't care, I'll come out. Even if I wasn't buying it, like I would still run the release. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, you want a shoe? I'm like, yeah, no, I'm good. So it wasn't so much like becoming a part of that culture, but like building something that like I had faith in and feeling like comfortable that people were like, oh, we have camaraderie. We can chill. We don't have to stress out. We're not fighting. Nobody's arguing. Like even resellers were like, all right, I can fuck with this because like they pull up, put your name down. Okay, what you gotta do?
You are sorely missed right now.
It was a different time also. Like people and like I tried to venture up to 34th Street, but like going there, coming back, it was like too much stress for me to be like, all right, let me do 3 stores at once. No way. I used to do Kith Brooklyn and Kith Soho. So I would take the train back and forth. That shit was terrible.
That's wild. That's because I never even thought about like, oh, maybe I should like help run a line or something like that. Because I mean, I was always like either midway through the line or like I wasn't ever first in line for anything. I was maybe that was third.
That's where the zero comes from.
Yeah.
It's like I would literally just pull up at 3:00 in the afternoon. Plus, like you gotta remember, like a broken leg, so I wasn't working. Like
Yeah.
I would just go there and chill, whatever the fuck I felt like it. So it was a lot easier for me to kind of assume that mantle, knowing that like I forget what it was. It was the Boston Tea Party, the concept of Jelly Threes. I sat out there for 3 days. Like, oh, I don't care. Like whatever.
Jeez.
Last year I chilled out. It was the middle of summer. I went home and showered a few times. That was it.
The cane held a lot of power, is what you're telling me. It paid for you to stay in the lines and also, create the lines.
I think that is the part that I miss the most about like seeing people come out for shoes. Like I see a lot of people come for shoes. I like people that like shoes, people that don't like shoes, resell stuff. But like I think the biggest thing that I miss is seeing people who actually enjoy each other's company while waiting for the shoes.
Yeah.
Which, little by little, I came the other day for the 8s. And it was like people from the hospital because the hospital's around the corner. There's a couple other people, and they were all just like talking to each other. I was like, I like this. This is nice.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think you are setting up an area for that specifically. I mean, when I pull up a Rent Arts, I always love it because everybody's very chill, and shout out Jimmy. He always treats me right.
Jimmy Spitz is on point. Leave Jimmy alone.
Jimmy's dope, man. That's my homie. But the history behind the store and all that. I just love that I'm able to like. It's a store that's in walking distance. I mean, look, I fuck with All Right, but I've never felt welcome there.
Well, like honestly, like if you just talk to them, like they're good too.
I think it's because it's probably a conversation for off mic, but there was a situation, and then but like I still give them all their props because I mean I'm a graffiti head. I love graffiti, and they always do.
You can't talk about that neighborhood without talking about All Right. So like
yeah,
stable in the community if you
exactly.
Want to be honest about it. Plus, like Jordan's been around for a minute. Like he knows his shit. He doesn't fuck around,
For sure. And so I don't think. I mean, if you know, it's one. And like All the Right is one of those stories. Of like if you know, but it's like you definitely got to be around here.
Yeah.
From around here to go there, and and look, Roosevelt Ave be crazy. I mean, you post some crazy videos, man.
It's wild, and the fact that we're in Sneaker Steve's spot is kind of dope too. I like that. I mean, I don't like that the place floods so much, but whatever. Building's old as shit, but like knowing that like we're in Sprint 2 is fire too. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it has like that little bit of nostalgia for people that are in the area.
For sure. I mean, I never was able to. I mean, I'm trying to even think. Was I? Because usually I'm from Corona originally, right? So like when my mom would take me sneaker shopping, it wasn't to Roosevelt. We would go the opposite way. We'd go to in front of Left Rack, and in front of Left Rack there was. Yeah. See, it's funny because I can never remember the name of the store, but I don't know if you ever been, but it was the store that it always had Echo, and it was right across the street from Left Rack.
I'm trying to think. You're not talking about the shopping center. You're talking about.
No, I'm talking about that the 57 Ave.
Yeah. I never shopped over there. I never made it that far because I used to pass. If I had to go that far, I was passing them all.
Yeah, basically, yeah. But the mall was so far for me because I was in Corona, so like that was the mall basically, that 57, and then you go to the mall. If you venture out, like that's where you're like, yeah, I'm going to the mall. Then you spend a couple hours there, but
you make a day out of it. Like at a certain day.
You hit the food court. You go, you go to
start from top to bottom. You go Foot Locker. Like I said, I like FCUK. It was French Connection was up there, and the upstairs before they made the split. It was just the one side, right? And if you were really trying to get froggy, J.C. Penney was fire. And then they had a GameStop all the way downstairs they had two GameStops. The one outside, right? The one outside the mall where the LIE gets off, and then the one inside the mall downstairs in the basement in that corner. You remember that?
I mean, I know. Well, I used to go there when I was young.
Came out, it was right there on the corner. They closed it. I forget when they closed that shit.
I remember when it was a EB Games in there.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah. I found an EB Games card the other day. I was like, oh shit.
I hope it got money on it. Imagine it's got like 3 racks on it.
Electronic like what?
Yeah. Look, Queen Center Ball was totally changed now, and before it was definitely like this crazy sneaker haven where you'd go there and it was like you were just touching nothing but stuff that you just hope you wish you could get. And yeah, man, that was a hell of a time, bro. Like when Foot Locker was on the top, and you were just like.
My mom went and camped out for Red 13s.
Wow, camp out?
Yeah, my mom. Not camp. She went there for like 4 hours, and like for Christmas, and like opened the box. I was like, "Yo, what the?" She's like, "Yeah, I waited for 4 hours for these shits." But like it was a Foot Locker in the mall. It was kind of crazy, but like you were able to go in there and shop for shit that you liked throughout the course of the week. It wasn't like you had to go there on release day and be like, "Yo, only on like big release or the holiday release that you need to worry about that shit." Like otherwise, you could just go anytime you wanted. You had you had Foot Locker, and there was another sneaker store in there too.
Jimmy Jazz wasn't in there, right?
No. Nah. It was something else. It was like a sneaker boutique. I forget what the fuck it was called.
I mean, they have Finish Line or Champs.
Yeah. Oh, it might have been. No, I don't think Champs was around yet.
No?
Champs might have been around. It might have been Champs. You might be right.
Or Foot Action. Could have been one of those.
Could have been one of those. Okay. It was. All I know is there was 3. It was VIM and 2 in the mall, and like. Then you had J.C. Penney, and you had all the Sean John stuff downstairs. I just buy mad Sean John.
You were a Sean John kid?
I just love that. And then we would go to outlets and like Woodbury. Woodbury outlets would be like all your Tommy, your Nautica, like all that shit would be there.
I mean, you lucky. I still haven't been to Woodbury Commons. Like I've always wanted to go. It's like this magical place. It feels like Disneyland to me.
They got a Stone Island out there right now.
What?
I'm like, somebody told me there's a Stone Island there and the prices are great. I might go. Like I'm just I might just go.
Yeah, let me know. I will hop in the car with you.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I was with a road trip. Fucking, let's go.
We can listen to this episode and
multiple episodes. Okay,
But like, it's just wild. Like, I mean, look, I love Stone Island. It's funny that you talk about that Stone Island drop. My like when I started waiting out like in front of Supreme, I used to wait like on the lines pretty religiously too. But for me, it was always the CDG drops. Like CDG drops were just, I was like, I remember one time my boy stopped me because I walked by and I didn't even know the CDG drop was happening. And he was just like, yo, it was good. And I was just like, yo, it was good. And he just let me cut. And I was like 5th in line. I was just like, word. And this is what the first drop. This was the one where they did the button down. And like, it was like all button down stuff.
With the polka dots.
Yeah. So I got that. I got the BOGO for that, and I never looked back after that. I was just like, I need to cop every single drop.
I'm trying to think. The one after that was the Stripes, if I'm not mistaken.
Or man, yeah. No, I thought polka dot was polka dot after.
No, that was first. First?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, most positive that was the first one.
Polka dot reverse logo.
Yes.
Yeah. I got that. Yeah.
And then they had the stripe one was the year after because I remember being like that shit is whack. Last year was so much better. I'm not getting this shit. I don't know if do you remember Roger Moo?
Nah, I don't think so.
Nigerian dude. I was waiting at Apple for an iPhone, wearing some like Giants apparel. Don't knock me for it. It was blue. It was a new hoodie, and
I'm a Giants fan too. It's fine.
I'm a Jets fan. Is what I am. I'm wearing some Giants shit, so I'm trying to not be a dick about it. So, and I was wearing some Giants colored Gel 3s. They were white, but they had like the blue and matched. And he's like, you wear Asics? I was like, yeah. What's up? He's like, yo, I'll be in Soho all the time. Why don't you come by Supreme? He like recruited me to come camp out for him for a pair of Flyknit, the Supreme Flyknits. You remember the black?
The black Flyknits, with the SUP on the back.
One, I should have kept them, but two, like he was like, oh, meet me at Supreme. So like I was like, all right, bet I'll come meet you. So I met him like the next week they dropped. So I met him at Supreme. He's like, yo, just chill here with me. And I was wearing Hypercats, as a matter of fact. I was pissed. I was wearing Bodega Hypercats to the shit. Yeah, people just squished together. I was like, bro, why the fuck am I camping out for shoes? But I was already in the line, so I didn't want to leave. I was like, all right, I guess I'll just wait. And like we had a pretty lengthy friendship, but that was the first time. Like I was like, this fucking guy really got me out here camping for a pair of shoes.
I mean, the funniest thing, and I don't know if you've seen this multiple times, but that was the first time I've ever seen it. But like camping out or like making that line, and dudes pull up and like go in front of the line and talk to the security guards and be like, "Yo, guys, you need any breakfast or something?" And then it would be like 6 dudes. It would always be like whoever got to the security guard first to give them food was like, all right.
You're probably talking about Charlie, right?
Probably, yeah. The big dude.
All right, guys, get in line.
Yeah.
Yeah. Charlie was shit. Him and Martin. So like, I ran releases for Supreme, like probably like 6 or 7 releases, like the list all night long. And this is just before the foam posits dropped. And like I went out there to go do the foam, and there was like 700 people. I was like, "There's no way this is ever gonna work." So like I didn't even care. But then after that, they had to get security. So like Martin came and Charlie came. And Martin was crazy, but like manageable crazy. Charlie was fucking crazy. So like, but like he was cool. He was like a down to earth type of dude. But things got crazy like a year into them doing it, like taking the bribes was. And what they were taking as bribes was even crazier. Like it was out of control. I was like, oh hell no. And they'd be like, what do you want? I'm like, oh, don't say anything. I'm good. I will come by and get it later. I'm not doing
that. Man, I wish I knew you for the SB Supreme release because the red lows. Because I heard they had so much stock and like
of course they did.
Yeah. And I didn't even try. I didn't even try to go.
I'm trying to think. So like, if you think like OG, you've been out there. You know what happens, right?
Yeah.
Morning of, there's a van, their bags used to come out, and then people they'd be like long ass receipts, and they'd be like, okay, guys, we're sold out, but wait, we're not sold out because they have to figure out their shit. Like it was the fucking wild west. Which is, I mean, like I enjoyed it. Like it was fun to see it. Like I mean, I was usually in the top like 20, so I wasn't like super stressed out about getting stuff, but like. After they started doing that stupid lineup shit where you would get in line for like the day when they first started the app thing.
Yeah, the text to meet up at the park.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. And like it was really like a scavenger hunt. And like people knew, and then they'd be like, Mike, all right, at like 10:42, they'd be like, where are you? And I'd be like, I'm in the city. Where am I going? Oh, you got to get to 138th Street. I'm like, whoa, I'm on 14th Street. And then like now you're driving through. I enjoyed how fun it was if you were on foot and like they made it fun, but like it became like crazy. Like getting there. There was people from like coming out of the woodwork, crawling through fences to like get into a line. You're like, where the fuck did you come? I was like, I can't do this. This is no good. There's no rhyme or reason for like why they had to do it like so crazy. But like security guards were getting paid. People would follow them in the vans. Like Soul Street and them, they would follow them in the van and be like, all right, they're getting coffee right now. Yeah.
Cop stakeout.
Yeah. Even so you remember the Snarkitecture?
Yeah.
They did the little Snarkitecture. It was what Air Max was that? It was the Air Max Zero, whatever it was called.
I think. Let me see. I know what you talk about.
Yeah. They basically Austin was in a car or a van, and they found out what car he was in and followed him to every single mailbox. Like it was a thing. Like it was just. And one of it was like fun getting over and like getting to the bottom of like being the first person there for the resellers, but also like it was bullshit because people who were like at work and like, oh, that's my building, I'll come downstairs. Like they would have got there in like a minute or two, but you ruined it for everybody. So it was the more I think about it, there's like a lot of shit.
The things we do, man. The things we do for something that we love. But I was gonna say, we're winding down to the end of the podcast, and I usually ask it's been that whole hour, bro. But I also asked another question at the end of the podcast, and that question is, I want you to think about that moment when you're about to go cop those Cortezes, right? As you were a kid, you're about to open that box. Now you're you as yourself, your older self, GM self, behind your younger self. And what would you tell your younger self as they open that box?
Slow down.
Slow down?
Or, like when you're a kid, you're just like, oh, I gotta get in there and I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna wear this shit. I'm gonna put just soak it, let it soak in. Like, enjoy what it is that you have in front of you. I mean, there's so much more you'd want to say to a fucking 13-year-old who's just opening his first pair of shoes. Like, you got your long time to go. Make sure you're here on this day because this shit's dropping. Like, turn your phone on. Was that Easter Sunday when they drop it October's? Like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Like those are all things I would tell them. But I mean,
get the foams, get the Galaxy foams,
all that shit. But I think just slow down and enjoy what it is. Embrace each one. And I mean, for a long time, I think everything that I purchased, I could tell you where I was, what I was wearing, and like who I was with when I bought it. And then I don't know what point I stopped remembering, but I think that was the point where like you're just buying in excess. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So like, take your time, enjoy what it is that you have in front of you, and think of why you wanted it, and just keep it there. That's all. Don't rush.
Love that, man. That's perfectly said. Thank you so much for jumping on.
I'll see you this week in the store.
Yeah. I will. And what we say for everybody each week: wear your kicks. Peace. I might cop a pair of Vomeros. Peace.